When was the last time you guys went go-karting?
Oh, that's a question.
18 years ago, probably longer.
I'm half tempted to say it might have been. I can't remember if it's just before COVID or just after COVID. It's one of those two, and it was. I'm pretty certain it was at Skegness. So if that is the case, it is definitely before COVID then.
Yesterday, I went to Manchester to see my family. My sister booked go-karting for us.
Ooh.
But this was no ordinary go-karting. Essentially, we played real-life Mario Kart.
How the hell does that work? Come on, spill the beans.
So, how this works is that all the vehicles are electric and all connected, and you have like a little screen, and as you drive around the track, which is all done by projectors, you have like things on the track that you can pick up, like coins or gems or whatever, or Wumpa fruit, as you probably know from said games, and you get points for collecting them, and then you got like random boxes, like question mark boxes that give you items to use against other racers. It was really good fun.
So when you say it was entirely electric, so was it not actually on a track at all? It was just like simulated.
Pretty much, the track was just projectors. It's just a blank, empty room. That was the track, and then the projectors showed the track that you had to drive around. And
You get to pick a character as a sort of avatar, or is it just yourself?
no, it's just you. Like the items were basically like off-brand Mario Kart items. They had like a green boxing glove and then a red boxing glove, and I'm sure you understand which items they were. You had like a machine gun, a like laser gun. You had an egg, which was basically the banana skin. Yep, banana skin from Mario Kart. Had like a speed boost. Had the lightning bolt. Had like an invincibility shield.
Did you have a lasagna as a weapon?
No, I didn't. But no, it was good fun. What I did like is that it prioritized getting points instead of trying to overtake people, because although you still had to drive fast and you got points for driving fast, you didn't really need to overtake anyone, really. Obviously, if you're doing well, definitely prioritize earning points. So like on the last few races, I was just driving around getting all the little gems, and I just constantly saw my score going from like second to third, first, second, third, just like constant, just because I was getting all these points. But no, it was good fun. It had like, you still had like the speed boosts, and then it had like speed decelerators as well. You had like obstacles like crabs coming onto the track, and each like race was themed. So like the first one was like a desert one, then you had like a beach, and then you had like a space one. It was good fun.
Was it immersive? Like in certain cinemas, like if there's like wet, like sort of sprays going on, wind and everything. Did they have like that cinematography with that? So like you feel like the effect, or was it just literally like you're playing just a TV screen?
No, I don't want to say no. It wasn't. It's probably more the second, but there wasn't any special effects, but
Okay.
it was still really good fun. I think a lot of us didn't really know what to expect, but it was near enough, like just playing Mario Kart, but real life. It was good.
So did you get like a generous number of turns as well?
You had 6 races.
And what sort of pricing are we looking at for that?
I believe it was about £30 or £35. Can't remember how much I paid.
I mean, I suppose you're paying that much for the premium of just having a good time out with your friends.
Yeah, I think if you were going out on a night out, that'd be a good first thing to do before you start drinking, because you're not allowed to be under the influence of anything. Be a nice fun thing to get your blood pumping before you start drinking. And in the lobby that had like 3 arcade games, so when I got there, my brother was playing Tekken 3.
Oh, it's good that they do that for free. That's not too bad.
Yeah,
I know like a lot of like arcades, you still got, also I say like 99% of them, you've got to pay for literally just everything. Pool, Guitar Hero, any of those ones.
Oh, it's good fun. I would 100% recommend it.
I just love it. Like you say, like you can't drink drive with it, but it's not real. But if anything, surely it could be like a lesson to like prove the points of why you shouldn't drink and drive, because it gives you like, it shows you literally just the power of being under the influence and just how dangerous it actually makes it be.
Well, let's look. Bowser's a villain. And even he's not sloshed off his face when he's playing in Mario Kart, is he?
No,
Exactly.
Bowser doesn't do it. You don't do it.
It's more of a Wario thing.
Yeah, I think it's a Wario thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 71 of the Victory Achieved podcast. My name is Brandon, and I'm here with my favourite two lovely lads, Dan and Chris. How are you both doing?
Good.
Very good.
Chris is doing better. But on the topic of doing better, I'm having a hard time, lads. So last time we were speaking on the episode, I was saying that I've been playing a game called Curse of the Dead Gods. And I set myself the goal to try and platinum this game. And I'm going to tell you guys now, do not try platinum this game. I put in over 100 hours into this game. And there are a couple particular trophies on there which are just beyond bullshit. So in the game, there's a gold trophy which says 0.1% of players have achieved it, which already sets off alarm bells. Well, considering the rest of the trophies are like 8%, 11%, or whatever. And this particular trophy is to complete the bestiary. Now, to do the bestiary, there are certain conditions you've got to do to unlock more information about the enemies you're facing. One of the conditions is to defeat 50 of said enemies in their elite forms without taking any damage. That alone is quite challenging, considering like the basic enemies can get quite challenging in the later games when they start like ganking. The second section of the bestiary is to defeat the bosses 5 times without taking any damage, which is also a bit of a nightmare because one of the bosses, Shukat, is an absolute disaster of a boss. I just cannot defeat this boss without taking any damage because it's just bullshit. And then as you go on further through the bestiary, there's another condition which is to defeat the last boss 5 times without taking damage, which is also complete bullshit, but it's more doable than doing one of the earlier bosses, so I can live with that for a bit. Then it comes on to the trophy. It's like you need to complete the last 2 dungeons in a row. So that, and obviously being a dungeon crawler and a roguelike, not a dungeon crawler, a roguelike, obviously you're at the mercy of RNG. So you have to get the stars aligned perfectly to even just do 1 attempt. But yet you've got to do it twice on each of the 2 hardest dungeons on the map, on the game, to be able to clear it. So yeah, I'm calling bullshit on Curse of the Dead Gods. I'm throwing it away. But yeah, please help me. So you guys good? What you been up to? I had to vent that.
Well, I got a year older, so that was nice. So
How was
I
your
got
birthday?
Plenty of stuff. It was really good. We did a mini charity stream for Mind, playing Mario RPG, which was gifted to me, so that's nice. So I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But I think since you mentioned a roguelike, I've also played a roguelike that just came out like 2 days ago. So very on the ball today. And that game is, of course, the world-renowned Turnip Boy Robs a Bank. So I mentioned quite a while back, actually. I played a game called Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, which I had to play just on the name alone because it sold it to me. It is such a cool name. And it's a great game as well because it's basically just a Zelda game, like a top-down one, but with a massive sense of humour. Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, on the other hand, keeps the top-down art style, same kind of sense of humour, follows on from the first one, but instead of being like a Zelda-like, it is a roguelike. You go into the bank trying to rob as much money as you can in the shortest space of time because you're on a timer, and the rooms change around a bit. For the most part, the rooms do stay the same. They've got like the same sort of skeleton structure, but like offshoots change, and like what's in the rooms change, like what kind of treasures you can find, what weapons the enemies drop, that kind of thing. And what I quite like about it is, you know how you do runs in RNGs and they can last like, I don't know, 20, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. These ones are really short. Like your timer to start with is like 2 minutes because the idea is like if you're in there for too long, then like the SWAT teams like catch up with you, and then like any harder enemies start spawning in once your time runs out. So it's essentially a mad dash to like get back to your starting position, to like get back to the van, like get away with as much money as you've stolen. Although I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because for some of the objectives, like there's loads and loads of side quests in this. Some of them are like kill X amount of enemies, and the enemies also drop money as well. So even though the time has run out and all these enemies are spawning in, it's not necessarily a bad thing if you've got the skills enough to survive. You can just like farm them for a bit. At some point, though, I think it's got like a sort of GTA thing. So once you've killed like so many officers, the bank owner goes, right, that's it, and just like gasses the bank. Then you have to leave because the whole place is full of poison, so your health drains very quickly. So it's like, yeah, get the fuck out of there. Although you always get some kind of progression because even if you like get killed or die, you retain half the stuff that you collected. So you always get something. There's never like such a thing as a failed run. You didn't get anything. That is until right at the end of the game. So I don't want to do any spoilers, but it's a bit harsh what it wants you to do right at the very end. Essentially, you've got to kill 4 main game bosses in a row and then do a sort of final boss after that, which is quite difficult, and you have to do all of that in one go. I have not done that yet. The game goes from like being really casual and happy and smiley to pull the veil off now. It's gone fucking hard, so good luck. But that said, I really like it. There's plenty to work towards. It's not super long. You can probably finish the whole thing in, I don't know, 6 hours. So there's more content than Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. But it's the nature of the beast. It's a little bit more grindy, just trying to get money. But not to a stupid extent. You're not going to like play it for like hours and hours and hours thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to get these things. Because you do get everything eventually. There's always some kind of progress thing, even when you die. But yeah, Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is great. And it's on Game Pass, so you can play it right now. No excuse. Go buy a new Xbox and go get it.
I love the art style in it. I'm just looking at it.
It's so cutesy and happy, and I was seeing it. I thought, you know what? It's the writing that does it, because even though everything's cutesy and happy, everything's got a sort of cynical, like darker undertone to it. Like there's stuff like the mafia and that involved, so without ruining anything. But yeah, it goes places.
So how many hours of enjoyability do you think you can get out of it?
I've been playing it off and on for, say, not a huge amount of time, and I've just got a final mission. I've got like a couple of side quests to do, but they are tricky as well. But I'd say I've only put like 5-6 hours into it, so it's not like super long or anything. But even the first game is only like 2 to 3 hours long. Even if you do everything, it's not very long at all. They're just bite-sized games, really.
Just in a screenshot, it says Greg's List rather than like Craig's List from America.
Yes, it has more Easter eggs as well if you look at them. Like you go onto a computer and it's got like a shop on there where you can buy things from, but it's also got like a tab and like you would like in Google Chrome or whatever. And there's always like some kind of Easter egg, and you can never quite make out what it is, because it's normally something to do with like XXX or something. And every time you click on it, like the computer gets a load of pop-ups and then like shuts itself down. Like you get the blue screen of death, no matter what it is. Yeah, good sense of humour. Do you like it?
Yeah, I noticed in one of the screenshots there's a policeman. That is a piece of bacon.
Yeah, because it pigs, you see. And
I get that.
The other policemen are peaches, because it's the fuzz. Good sense of humour. Can't recommend it enough, seriously. No matter what kind of hardcore game you are, you're not hardcore enough for Turnip Boy.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. Speaking of hardcore, shall I just go straight on to the next one?
Yeah, sure.
Well, we're Victory Achieved. We like Dark Souls games, and I've been playing a newer Souls-like, which is the 2023 Lords of the Fallen game, which, honestly, I'm maybe playing right now while we're recording on mute. I know, I don't normally do that, but
how could you?
I'm not doing much. I'm just like grinding. I'm just farming. So
how could
nothing
you?
Too intensive.
Like, it's not like I'm playing Pokemon Crystal right now. I mean, what?
Terraria modded.
I know.
No,
I just wanted to get
we're all professionals. I mean, what?
Yeah, I'm going to post a photo showing just how professional we are on social media in a minute. No, I just wanted to. I've played about 10 hours of this, give or take, and I just wanted to get like another couple of hours in before I talked about this, because I'm on the fence with this one. I do like it because inherently it's a Souls-like, and I like those kind of games, and it does do a few things I do like, but it does a lot of things I don't like as well at the same time. And I think a lot of people feel the same way about this. Like, I've not watched like much in the way of like reviews of this, but the general idea that people seem to have about this is it's fine. No one seems to hate it or love it. No one's like the original Lords of the Fallen. For all its faults, I didn't think was that bad. Yeah, it's a bit clunky, but that was like the first Souls-like sort of spin-off from anything else, to my knowledge. And yeah, I thought it was all right. But people seem to hate it. But I didn't think it was too bad at all. You can look past its flaws, and yeah, it's a decent little game. I just don't expect much.
I watched Zero Lenny play it, and I don't know, that I was a bit confused over certain things. And to be fair, Zero Lenny was being very he was a bit playing with fire. He was like trying to
doing his stick. Doing his old stick.
Yeah, but he was like really rushing through the map, or wherever he was really rushing through it. So I think that didn't really help him, and there were quite a few times he nearly died, and I was just like, clearly he's trying to rush through because towards a boss or whatever. Because if he was taking his time, I don't think he would have be on the edge of death in the game. But it looked well, graphically it looks great. Gameplay looked somewhat decent, but I only didn't watch him play it for that long, to be honest.
Well, let me describe this game in a little bit more detail. So, plot-wise, I'm still playing It's a Fuck Knows. It's a Souls-like. I've got no idea what the fuck's going on. Bad things are bad. Go kill them. It's generally what happens. So, things I like about this game. The death mechanic is a bit more forgiving than you might think. So, a big part of this game is there are like 2 realms. There's like the land of the living and like the land of the dead, essentially. And you can sort of flip-flop between the two. You've got a lantern that allows you to see like the land of the dead while you're in the land of the living. And you can transport there at any time. But you can't transport back to the land of the living anytime. You have to find like certain checkpoints in order to go back. So how the death mechanic is, if you die in like the land of the living, instead of like, oh, that's it, game over, it transports you to the land of the dead. So essentially you've got a second chance. So you can keep going. Problem is, when you're in the land of the dead, your like maximum health is sort of soft capped. It's got like a sort of rally system, a bit like Bloodborne, not quite. So your maximum HP is essentially halved, but you can regain your HP back if you hit enemies back. Problem is, if you get hit, no matter how big a portion of the missing health is grayed out, you lose all of it.
Oh, bloody hell.
The whole lot. So you do have to be careful. So, and as you might imagine, with being on 2 planes, it does the puzzle thing of like, oh, you're in the land of the living, like you see a gorge you can't cross, but if you go to the land of the dead, there's like a skeleton type bridge you can cross over. So you're sort of forced to flip between the two to progress, which again I quite like. The only problem with the land of the dead, which I'm having a major issue with, is just trying to navigate, because even though the land of the living like looks different, the land of the dead all looks the same. It's all grey, like monotone, and every area you go to looks exactly the fucking same. Which is not bad at first, but the further in the game you get, because everything looks the same, you just get so lost, or at least I seem to. I'm normally quite good at navigation, but some of the areas with how they're designed, a nightmare trying to find out where I am. Especially when you've like mapped it out, like the land of the living part, and you go to the land of the dead, it's like, right now, where the fuck am I? Because it's essentially the same, but you assume you can go back and then go, oh yeah, there's no ladder there. That's only in the other side. But again, quite like it to a degree. My main nitpicks for this is kind of like how the character moves, because unfortunately, like the original Lords of the Fallen, everything seems slow and clunky. Like the hitboxes don't seem precise as they should be. Sometimes I've got hit and then killed by things I physically did not see hit me. There's been one instance I was just walking along, there was nothing there, and my character just died for seemingly no reason. And I don't know what it was. I thought, is it poison or something? It's like, no, it's not poison. It's like I just died and just got teleported to the land of the dead. It's like, I don't know what's gone on there. My only guess is like an enemy clipped through the wall, because I've had that happen a few times, and it's hit me from underneath. Some bullshit like that. But hey, yeah. I want to play it a bit more. I want to get in. I do want to finish it, because I am enjoying it, but I do feel it could be polished a lot more. If you're interested in like what build I've gone for like a big burly 2-handed sword build, because I figure if all the combat's slow, no matter what, I may as well go for the big 2-handed greatsword.
Makes sense.
Because it doesn't seem to be any faster if I got like, twin daggers. Oh, that is a good thing though, when I think about it. Your weapons, like you can have like a weapon in like each hand, but you can essentially do like the power stancing thing from Dark Souls 2.
Oh yeah.
Where you have like a separate weapon in each hand and attack with both of them. And I quite like that. So you can sort of mix and match. I think that's pretty good. But I found this big 2-handed greatsword and it seems to do massive damage. So I haven't looked back since. It's like, yeah, that's better. I've gone from doing like 30 damage to like 260. It's like, I'll have that one, please. Yeah. Other than that, it's pretty much what you expect from it. So I was like, not a lot in the way of different mechanics. The Estus thing works a little bit differently. When you upgrade it, you don't necessarily like get like another charge. It seems to combine like the stuff like Sublime Bone Dust and like Flash Shards, for example. So when you upgrade it using the same currency, but like if you go from like level 1 to level 2, you may not get another charge. You'll just get like more healing, and then level 3 you get more healing. But they seem to be very few and far between. As I say, I've been playing it for about 10 hours. I've only got 5 heals, so I've only found like 3 upgrades for it so far. But with how the weapon level design is, I've missed out on so much. There's like so many locked doors I've managed to walk by, and I'm assuming I'm going to get something to activate them later, but I genuinely don't know. I think I'm just missing a lot of stuff. So I'm about 7 different areas in, but there's like a handful of stuff in each area that I know I haven't got to. If I backtrack, I can see items that I don't know how to get to. Not yet anyway. I'm going to stick with it a bit more. It's what I'm mostly going to play for the time being in my spare time and see how I go. But yeah, Lords of the Fallen. Cautious recommend. I think I'll go for.
I have a couple further questions. So you mentioned about like the Estus equivalent of the leveling system. What about the raw leveling system? What is that like?
So you mean like the weapon leveling or?
Not the weapon leveling,
Character.
but you know, like the stats leveling.
Oh, yeah, pretty much what you expect. That's
So you're
dex,
just normal like
magic.
stamina, HP, strength, dexterity,
Yeah, pretty much.
intelligence.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly what you think. Although one of the things for item descriptions don't tell you much, but it does say if you want to know more, increase like your Inferno stat, which is basically intelligence. So it's like intelligence has another role. It's like you got this item, you don't know what the fuck it does. It gives you like a basic. Yeah, that would be all right if you were a spellcaster role, but I am not. So I'm getting loads of stuff which it gives you like the basic explanation what it does, but I think if you want more lore, or I don't know, maybe there's a mechanic where the items actually do extra benefits if you get up intelligence, but I don't know about that. Because I haven't looked up anything about this. I'm literally gone in blind because I wanted to. So I feel if I look up an FAQ, I'm probably missed out on about 10 different mechanics I didn't even realise.
And that leads me on to the second question. You mentioned about backtracking, but has it got fast travel?
Yes, it's got pretty much just bonfire to bonfire.
Okay,
Although that is something I've just reminded me of. There's a secondary sort of checkpoint system. So you've got like your big things. They're called vestiges in this. But you've also got like temporary checkpoints you can set up, which require items to use. But they seem to be quite rare. At least I haven't found many. But essentially, as you go along, you can find like flower beds that are sort of dotted around, and they allow you to like make a sort of manual checkpoint. Problem is, if you set one, you can only have one at a time. So if you decide to backtrack to someone else because you want to go back here, if you put down another checkpoint, that one disappears.
That's fair enough.
So yeah, it seems fair enough, but it's also made me cautious because I'm like I've got to like one area right, and I found it too hard, but I've got a checkpoint like so far in. But now I've decided to go somewhere else, and now I don't want to make a manual checkpoint because I know I will lose progress and I have to wander all the way through again. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It would be kind of busted if you could have unlimited checkpoints or too many checkpoints.
The thing is, they're like spread out enough, like because the actual vestiges themselves are quite far apart. There only seems to be like one in every area as opposed to multiple, and they don't seem to loop back either. Like I think to hand, there's only like one vestige I've got to, or maybe two, that actually have a sort of semi-shortcut back. So it's like it's encouraging you to use these temporary checkpoints.
No,
I suppose if you don't make them, you just make the game harder for yourself, but you may want that.
To me, for like the kind of game it is, like, yeah, it's annoying only having one like movable checkpoint, but it kind of makes sense. Like, take Tears of the Kingdom, because it's an open world, you get an item where you can make your own fast travel point, but you can have like 3 of them. But it's an open world game, so that kind of makes sense. But then Souls-like, having one, as if it was like whatever the item's called in Ocarina of Time. It makes sense. Yeah, it's a bit annoying when you say you've got like one in a deep an area where it's quite strong, and you don't want to move it, but I guess that's the nature of those games. It's like, you could maybe explore an area a bit easier sooner, or leave it there for when you want it. And I guess that's just it's however you want to deal with that, really. However you want to play, really.
It is nice to sort of have the option to sort of go, okay, I could make a checkpoint here, but if I keep going, I can make a checkpoint right near the boss arena, so I don't have to run back every time. I think, though, for me, the issue would be slightly alleviated if it didn't cost a rare item that I can't like replenish to do so.
True.
Like, if I could just set up like one checkpoint at a time, but except then it's going to get rid of the other one, then yeah, I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, costing a rare item to do so, you're looking at it and going, nah, I don't want to use it there. I'm pretty sure I could get back to it easy enough, but we'll see. We'll see if this issue becomes a proper problem down the line. At the minute, it's not been too bad, but there's 1 or 2 areas I'm slightly sketchy on, just because of how they're designed. It's like, oh yeah, just to get back there, I have to go for the land of the living, go for the land of the dead, back to the land of the living again before I even get there. So
it's a shame that once you've unlocked it through the land of the living and the land of the dead, it doesn't stay that way.
Yeah, it does. Oh well. Though it is an interesting mechanic, and but I don't think it does it enough to separate itself from the crowd of Dark Souls things. It's a nice mechanic, but it's not enough. You are just looking and going, right, where's my Titanite shards? Where's my Estus shards? Blah, blah, blah. It is decent. I'm not going to poo-poo it too much. I just wish the combat was a bit faster. Really is my main nitpick.
Since you've both spoken about a game, how about I speak about a game?
Oh no, not a game.
I know, a game. I bought this game, I feel it was like over a year ago. And I think I mentioned on the podcast I had this game and that I would talk about it. Over a year later, I'm finally talking about it because because of what the game is, it's why I've not played it until now. So the game I'm talking about is, the full title is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. I played 3D World for quite a few hours. I don't know if I spoke about it on the podcast, but if I have, there we go. If I haven't, I'm it.
Oh well, it's a revision session.
Well, in a nutshell, it's just like 3D Mario as like kind of like, you know, like Mario 1, 2, and 3, where you got like the 8 worlds, you got like a level, but it's all 3D. It's good fun, but But what I want to talk about is Bowser's Fury, which is the main reason why I got it. And I said to myself, I wanted to set myself time to play it. I didn't just want to play half an hour and then not play it for months. When I started it, I wanted to give it a good go. I know it's not very long. I think I've nearly beaten the story of it already. And it only takes about 3 hours to beat. I think 6 hours to complete, maybe 100%, something around that. So it's not long at all. So Bowser's Fury, essentially this is kind of like a mixture of DLC for Super Mario Odyssey and Super Mario 3D World. It's kind of a mixture of both of them in a weird way. It plays more like 3D World in terms of how Mario controls and his abilities and power-ups, but then it plays like Odyssey in terms of the world and exploring it, and where it's a collectathon. As you know, if you played 64 Sunshine, you know it's like that, but it's a bit more like Odyssey, where you have, you know, there's like how if you played Odyssey, where you have all the different moons and eventually you're going towards a goal. It's a bit of a mixture of many things in a good way, and I've been really enjoying it. But like the gimmick of Bowser's Fury is Bowser. So Bowser is essentially a environmental hazard that turns on and off as you play, and when he's activated, he'll breathe fire on the map, rain down fireballs, destroy certain blocks, which is why you need to explore while he's on. But then if you get a shrine, it's all cat themed in Bowser's Fury, so it's a cat shrine. You'll quell him for a time, and then once you get enough cat shrines, you can then fight him so that you can unlock more of the map. No, it's really good. I don't really know. I knew kind of what to expect, but not exactly. But it is just essentially 3D World meets Odyssey. That's essentially what it is. It's good fun. Like, one of the things with Bowser's Fury is it is 2-player. If you want to play it 2-player, so essentially, if you have a second player, they get to play as Bowser Jr. and they can, like, if you play 1 player, you have Bowser Jr. and you can touch the screen and he can uncover secrets and stuff like that. And when I say it's like 3D World in terms of power-ups, you get to carry your power-ups with you. So you basically get a reserve of power-ups. So let's say you're in Fire Mario, and then you collect a fire flower, and then you collect another fire flower. You'll have 2 fire flowers in reserve, for example.
Right. Super Mario World did that.
Yeah. So you can, but it's like you only get up to 5 of each power up. You got cat, fire, mushroom, boomerang, tanuki, and then like another cat bell. I'm not really sure why there's why there's 2 cat bells, and I think there's, I'm trying to think what else.
You said cat fire. That's not much of a power up, is it? That's going to get the OSPCA involved.
Cat fire? No. Because in 3D World, the cat power up is a thing. I don't know if I think you got like the cat.
It's in the film as well. They tried to capitalise on it.
Yeah, there's that. But I think in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart 8, you've got the cat form is like a character, I think.
I believe you do, yeah.
Yeah, and that obviously that 3D World is where it comes from. No, it's quite an interesting, short but fun game. You know, I never played 3D World because I don't own a Wii U, so that's why I picked it up. And I thought, well, Bowser Fury's tagged along. It's kind of worth it for 2 games for the price of 1. No, it's not long. Like what, 3 to 6 hours to complete and 100% it isn't bad. I guess it's still got that Odyssey feel where, getting a shrine doesn't always feel like it's worth the effort, but I think it's not as bad as Odyssey. I think Odyssey was quite bad at having a lot of the moons just feel like nothing. Bowser's Fury does a bit better on that. To be fair, it does feel like that they are all going towards something, and I think they do feel like there's a bit more of an effort for each one. But it is still, a lot of them are still very similar, where it's like, let's get 5 of these cat emblems and then there's a shrine. Like literally just before we recorded, I got 2 shrines in like the space of 2 minutes, where one was to get these 5 cat emblems, and because of how they work, I just pressed on the screen to get Bowser Jr. to just fly into them. So I didn't even need to move Mario to do it. And then there was like how in Super Mario Sunshine, Bowser Jr. turns into like a evil Mario. There was like an evil Luigi. So I had to kill him. And like I said, I did it in like 2 minutes, and there was another 2 shrines. There you go. Yeah, the last thing is that after you've got enough shrines, you have like these big boss battles with Bowser where you turn into like a massive cat Mario. Like it reminds me of like a mixture of the big mushroom / supersonic. So you just, and because I've just unlocked the last spell, I'm assuming once I've done that, that'll be Bowser sorted. But yeah, they're all quite fun, and they change it up every boss battle. But yeah, like it's like I said, been a fun little game. I recommend it. Obviously the majority of the content is 3D World. I don't know. I think the older I get, I feel like how I feel about Mario is I like dipping in and out. I like having a good small session of Mario and then playing something else. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. No, I enjoy my Mario games, but compared to some, I'm like, I don't know if I can play it for hours on end.
Again, it's just one of these like Japanese like cash grab games. Like they know it's going to sell to the wider families, so they don't really have to. It seems like for a lot of the Mario games, they don't need to put much effort in for people to buy it, just because it's got this title of Mario on it.
True, but I still think like 3D World and Bowser's Fury are fairly decent, and I wouldn't say it's better than some of the other 3D Mario games, but it's still decent. Like it's not like it's fine or average. No, it is decent. It is good. But Brandon, you've got a game.
Yes. So you mentioned a platformer, and I started to play a platformer. I'm not too far into it. I'm played it for like a couple of hours. It's been on my radar for a while, but I've never given it a chance, and that's Celeste. Have either of you played Celeste?
No, but I'm aware of it.
I have, yeah, quite a while of it.
Yeah, so it's a pixel art platformer, and the closest game that I could maybe think to it is almost like Unfair Mario in a fashion, because there's an awful lot of tricky mechanical maneuvers you have to do in the game. So essentially you're this brown-haired, I'd like to say it's like a gender ambiguous individual. Like you don't really know if you're playing as male or female. It's entirely, I guess it's almost entirely up to you what it is. But I'm going to guess that it's more likely going to be a female. You have this brown-haired form, and when you jump or do it like a double jump sort of thing, you take on this like blue-haired form, but you can't go back into the brown-haired form until your feet actually make contact with the ground. So like you can do a jump, like you jump, do a double jump, gain your blue head form, and then you can't do another double jump again until your feet touch the floor. Basically, every level you have like these. Well, I've only really through level 1, but I'm one of these people where if I'm playing a platformer, I want to 100% a level before I move on. So based on this first level, you gotta basically collect 20 strawberries, and I also just found out that there's like a tape recorder in the level as well, which basically unlocks like the hard mode of it, which again, speaking of bullshit, is fucking hard. But I'm guessing like when you do like the hard modes of the levels, like the sort of like technical skills you gain as part of it will probably help as you go on. But yeah, it's one of these games like you said for Mario, I couldn't see myself playing it for hours because I will just literally get angry with with it. But it's a nice game where if I feel like, I just want a quick little go on Celeste to try and do it. I don't really know in terms of story what's going on with it. Essentially, you're just trying to climb Mount Celeste, which is where the name of the game comes from, Celeste, the mountain. And based on level 1, I found this other hiker guy wanting to go up. We had a little bit of a conversation, went around hunt. On the topic of, as you mentioned, with Lords of the Fallen, with a lot of hidden areas, Celeste has a lot of hidden areas. Like I did the first level, basically collected all the strawberries I could see as I was going, and I finished the level with like 8 strawberries, and I was just like, hang on a minute, what do you mean I've got 8 out of 20? Where the fuck are the other 12? And then like you sort of like start banging against walls, and you're like, oh, okay, there's a strawberry hidden back here. There's other obstacle course, and you're like, oh, there's a strawberry here. But I'm still stuck on 19 out of 20, and I've got no idea where this 20th strawberry is. But overall, if you enjoy like a really hard platformer, be it like Jump King or anything along those like that style of game, because it's the amount of like you're having to jump. It's not as frustrating as Jump King or like the Bennett Foddy games, but it's still difficult enough to a point where probably one of my things about Celeste as well, which I don't like, is this: you can't backtrack through it. So once you go into a new vertical area, you can't go back. So say for example, if you're going through and you miss a strawberry, you've now got to play through the rest of that level to be able to go back to that one room you just happened to miss an obstacle on. So it can be kind of annoying like that, but it's probably there for a reason. But that's probably my main gripe, is you can't backtrack on the levels very easily at all. But overall, if you like a challenging platformer, Celeste is free on Game Pass and PlayStation, if I recall. I think it's free on PS Plus. Yeah, check it out. It's not a bad game at all.
I've got a bit to say about that, because I've played Celeste, and I know Weldy speedruns it, because it's very much a speedrunner game.
Yes.
Like, you say, like, you can't go back to, like, previous areas, but the levels aren't all that long. You can blitz through them in like minutes if you know what you're doing. So you're on about the plot. So the idea of Celeste is the main character is trying to overcome power of inner demons by trying to conquer the mountain. So the whole thing is a metaphor for mental health. So you may have stumbled across her dark half, who like plays a sort of antagonistic role.
I've not even got that far. I'm on level 2.
Have you not? Okay.
Spoiler.
Okay. Fine. I thought you got a bit further in than that.
No, I'm literally. Yeah. It took me about 2 hours just to do the first level and get 19 strawberries.
Fair enough. Okay. I won't say much more then. But the whole thing is an allegory for overcoming your mental health problems. That's pretty much it. So there you go. That's what's going on.
Is it actually a female character? Because when I first picked it up, I couldn't quite tell.
It is, yeah. Okay. With red hair, not brown hair.
Yeah. I couldn't tell. It's like one of the shades of brown where it's like clay colour. So I'm just like, is it red, brown? Yeah.
Yeah, it's meant to be a vibrant red to sort of match with the strawberries, and just for more colour blindness than anything, because it pops and it stands out against the mostly blue level design.
Yeah, it is quite.
Which again, the blue and coldness of it again is another allegory for fragile mental health.
Very clever, Celeste. Very clever.
Very clever. It's a good game, though. Do recommend.
Do we have any more games?
Yeah.
Of course, Chris does.
Yeah. All right. I'll only mention one more game, because we've got some series to talk about as well. So I have played the Mario RPG remake on the Switch, which was very, very kindly donated to the channel. More of a birthday present, but no one cares about the difference. Point is, I've got it. If you haven't played the Super Mario RPG, which was initially made by Square and Nintendo, which is why there's never been another version of it, because who holds the rights to it is a bit of a clusterfuck. But they finally came together and decided to make the remake. And honestly, it's not really changed a lot. You can just play the original and you won't be missing much from the remake, is the whole review in a nutshell. The original was great, so is this. It's just basically a graphical overhaul. It's got some mini cutscenes in, which are not voiced, which is very jarring, because it looks like they should be saying stuff, but there's no subtitles, there's nothing. It's like Mario himself in the game plays like a sort of silent protagonist, so he does like everything doing charades when he's trying to explain things to other people, which has got its own level of charm to it. But I don't have a great deal to say about it, because one, this game's been out for years, and I don't think I can really add anything that nobody else has already said to it, other than it is a good game if you like RPGs. This one's pretty basic, but I've put it down as like one of baby's first RPGs. It is like Mario. It has got some tougher segments in it, but for the most part, it does hold your hand a bit. I think the most contentious point for people with the remake is it makes it even easier, because it's got a new mechanic called it's basically like team attacks. Like if you dodge enough attacks, or get enough crits, it builds up a meter. And once that's full, you can do like a sort of very powerful attack, or depending on your party members, will give you like a massive heal, massive buffs, like just one-shot damage, that kind of thing.
Oh.
So a lot of people are going, is it now too easy? And people seem to upset about that. But they seem to forget the point that Mario RPG was already easy and is for younger people. Like, it's not exactly Dark Souls. It's got a couple of bits that are a bit tricky. You might get a game over here and there, but there's no sort of, oh no, this is impossible. It's like, no, just go up a level, you'll be fine. There's plenty of side stuff to do, keep you busy. There's like a whole different, you got your general coins we can use to buy stuff, but you've also got frog coins, which allow you to get like rarer items. How your magic works, you use a thing called flower points, and to get more flower points over the course of the game, you receive them as mostly as sort of like minor quest rewards or hiddens, and you just get some as you progress through the game. So you kind of want to keep your eye out for all the secrets, so because you want your maximum FP to go up, and FP is shared like across every character. Like, they don't have like their own separate ones. It's all like from the same pool. So you definitely want to keep your eye out for those. One thing I don't like about Mario RPG is there are hidden chests which you find just by jumping into them. Just like your traditional Mario, just you find a block like midair. But I don't quite like that because you've got there's no indication that anything's there, and it's just really hard to find them. They're never sort of like, oh, that's quite obviously a secret because of how the level's designed. Nuh-uh, they could just be anywhere. Big open flat land, open area, boom, just jump. You might just magically find a treasure chest. They do mitigate this in the remake by having an item which sort of tells you there's an item in that area, but doesn't like pinpoint it exactly. It's like, yeah, just go around, you'll find it. Unfortunately, that acts as a sort of equipment slot item, so you forfeit like having actual equipment for that. It's like, yeah, I don't want to keep that equipped, to be honest with you, because I want stuff that's going to buff my defense and whatnot. It's a strange way to overcome it. I felt like it should have been if they were going to do that route, I felt like it should have been an item just given to you as standard, just like tell you there's an item hidden somewhere. But again, it should give you the option to like toggle it on and off, which I suppose they do, just in a strange way. I think it should have just been an options menu, to be honest with you, rather than equipment. Other than that though, it is pretty much one-to-one just the original game. Is it worth the price tag? Probably not really, but it's not like the most expensive game out there. I think it's currently retailing at like 40 quid, give or take. So it's not going to break the bank, and you will get some hours out of it. I think the whole thing, if you're going for completion, will probably take you about 20 hours, because it is an RPG. So it's not like the longest one ever. And it is, for the most part, unless you're not doing all the side quests, it's mostly linear. You just like go from one area to the next. Yeah, that's Mario RPG. If you haven't played it after all these years, then now's the perfect opportunity. You have no real reason to go back to the original. I'd say the only reason you want to play the original is probably because you prefer the art style, because of the pixel art, which I won't lie, I do prefer.
Or you don't want to fork out money for probably the exact same game.
Yeah, there is that, but well, why pay £40 for a game that's pretty much the same? It's like 30 years old and you can emulate for free. There's always that.
Yeah, because I've got it on my Wii. I started it, and then I can't remember how much I played, but then I got to a point where I realised, because when you level up, you can choose how you choose where you put your points in, can't you?
Yes, Mario and Luigi and the Paper Mario games do that as well. And I just pick what you want.
Yeah, and I think I saw something online where it's like all level ups it had like how you should level up each character, and I think already it was like, I guess it doesn't really matter, and I probably should have carried on, but it was like already I'd messed it up with the characters I had, where it's basically just like, with Mario, just do this. With, I can't remember what the marshmallow cloud guy's called.
Mallow, yeah.
Yeah, with Mallow, it's just do this. With Bowser, just do this. With Peach, just do this. With Gino, and I was like, right, okay. Well, with the characters I've already got, I would have to restart the game, and I think that's why I've not picked it up since. But I can't remember how many hours I played, maybe 2, maybe 3. I really enjoyed it, and it's one of those games that's, I'm like, I need to go back to that game. I need to play it again, and I just haven't. And now we've got the remake, and I'm like, I really need to go back to that game. I just need to plug my Nintendo Wii in and then play it. That's all I need to do. But since
with regards to the level up, like with your stat points, like you can choose what you want. I do think it's semi-random. I don't think it's the same every time. And also, I just pick whichever number gives me the most stuff. So which one's high? It's like, oh, I could pick more strength. It's like, yeah, but only get like +1. If I pick the magic one, that gives me like +5. So I'll have that one.
No, I do want to play it. I do want to finish it, but I think I'll have to restart it because it's been so many years. I remember there was like an Easter egg. I can't remember, quite early on in the game. I can't remember what it was, but I remember taking like a picture of it and then sharing it either on social media, or I remember showing it to my mate. Like I said, I cannot remember for the life of me what it fucking was, but I know it made me laugh, whatever it was. Like, I know there's quite a few little funny Easter eggs in the game.
Oh yeah, there's a number of them. Like off the top of my head, there's one of the inns you go in, you can find Samus having a snooze in one of the beds, dreaming about Mother Brain.
Yeah.
If you go to the castle and click on the chair, you can find Peach's dildo. Sorry, vibe wand.
Vibe 1.
Vibe wand. Yeah.
I thought you fucking misspoke there, but all right.
No, you can find a Princess Peach vibe wand. Oh, and there is a game called, is it just Super Princess Peach on the DS? Where you control her emotions using the vibe wand. It's like, yeah, I bet you do. You let children play this.
Well, that'll be in the next Peach game this year then.
Brilliant.
The dress-up detective thing.
I can't remember what it's fucking called.
Princess Peach Fun Times with Naughty Things. For kids.
Fair enough. There you go.
Yes. Oh, also, I played Pokemon Shining Pearl, but I haven't got a lot to say about that. Moving on.
Why have you not got a lot to say about it?
It's the worst Pokemon remake.
What's so bad about it? What makes it bad?
I hate the art style. But I've mentioned that before, before I played it. But I got it cheap. Oh, okay. I'll say this little anecdote. I bought this because, one, I got given a voucher, and I wasn't sure what to get on Amazon, and it suggested to me Pokemon Brilliant Diamonds. I thought, oh, okay, I might get that then. And it said out of stock, so I was like, well, what the fuck did you suggest it to me then if it's not in stock? Stupid thing. But then it said, oh, Pokemon Shining Pearl. I was like, okay, how much is that? 50 quid, right? But then it advertised under that Pokemon Shining Pearl with a Payalka figurine, £35, and I had a £20 voucher. So now I own a Palkia figurine and Pokemon Shining Pearl for 15 quid. So I thought, you know what, 15 quid, I may as well get that, because I'm not going to buy a PlayStation or Xbox game, because the moment I do, it'll go on fucking PS Plus or Game Pass. So if you're going to buy games, buy Nintendo ones, because they're never going to be.
They'll never go on sale.
The best way I can describe like Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is, compared to all the other remakes compared to the Gen 1, 2 and 3 remakes, the Gen 4 remakes make it so it's near enough. They don't make the game, don't elevate the game. It kind of just remakes it exactly as it was, which isn't really. Yeah, it's like
it hasn't fixed the issues of like only having like 2 fire types or anything, and it's far too fucking easy.
Yeah, it feels like a step backwards.
Yeah, the second town I got to, there were 2 NPCs there which I didn't know were there, and I spoke to them. One of them gave me Jirachi, and the other one gave me Mew just for free. I was like, you what? This game's already fucking easy. And for me, it's like doing a first playthrough of the remake. I played the original, of course, but not for a while. So it's not like super knowledgeable. And I thought, fuck it, I'll do a Nuzlocke as well to make it more interesting. Yeah. I thought, I've just got Mew. Well, I can't use that with my Nuzlocke rules, so... Yeah,
the only thing that they did change, which is one of the weirdest changes, is near enough, all the trainers piss easy, except one, Cynthia. For some reason, Cynthia, all her Pokemons have max IVs. I don't know why that's a thing, but she is stupidly fucking hard.
Oh, and she starts off with Spiritomb, which has no weakness. It's like,
it's the weirdest thing. It's like every other trainer, piss easy. Cynthia, we've actually going to dial up all the Pokemon stats up to 11. It's like, why is this a thing?
Oh, you thought the game was easy, did you? Oh, fuck you.
Compared to like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, it just feels like a step backwards. Whereas all of those remakes make the original games redundant to a point. Except for nostalgia.
I'll give Shining Pearl this. It's just made it an easy way for me to be able to stream that gen, because it's like, because of the console that the original was on, it's like, I can't do that without like actually hacking the thing or doing weird emulation, which is a pain in the ass for that. So it's just giving me a reason. It's like, I can actually stream this gen for you now, guys. That's it. That's the main deciding factor of why I bought it in the first place. Is like, I can stream that. Perfect.
Yeah. No, like, it's still fun. You know, it's Pokemon. You know what to expect. But, yeah.
It is my second least favourite gen after Sun and Moon. Let's not go down that rabbit hole again.
Yeah, we've been over it Right, and let's move on. You played in Palworld.
Oh yeah. So moving on from Pokemon to essentially Pokemon again. Okay, I have played Palworld. I played it very, very briefly, like, incredibly briefly, like about 5 minutes. This game's not for me. I booted it up. I was like, oh, okay, this is like another Pokemon game. Yeah, it turns out it's more like a sort of crafting survival thing. I was like, oh, I could not give less of a shit. It starts you off. It's like build a craft bench. It's like, I don't want to build a craft bench. I want a Pokemon. Where's Charizard? And yeah, I didn't get that. Didn't get that at all. So I literally played it for 5 minutes and went, yeah, no, thank you. People seem to be enjoying it, but then I've also seen that it also relies on AI designs and plagiarism, which no one's seen. Well, people have been mentioning it, and more so, people have been saying, hold on, everyone seemed to be against AI and plagiarism like not 2 weeks ago, but now it's in a Pokemon spin-off. Nobody seems to give a shit. It's like, make your mind up. And honestly, I looked at the art design of like some of the powers or whatever the fuck they're called. I can't give a shit. And yeah, the designs just do not fit in that world. They look so jarring. It's like far too cartoony for where they are, and it's a slightly cartoony aesthetic anyway, but it's like two different art styles that just don't mesh. It looks like a mess to me. It's currently in beta, but yeah, I don't think that's something that's ever going to be addressed.
To me, it just looked like Legends Arceus meets Fortnite. Because I watched a bit of a stream. Like, you know, it looked fine, but I've not played it, so I don't know how it plays or anything. But it just feels like one of these games that it's going to blow up. And then it'd be like, oh yeah, that was a thing. I could be wrong.
No, it does have that feeling. It's certainly got the flavour of the week. It's like, I just made the anecdote only yesterday, the day before. It's like, oh, all of Twitch seems to be playing Palworld. And here's me playing Turnip Boy. It's like, I'm well happy.
Yeah.
I'm watching a video of the first 15 minutes gameplay of Palworld. Like, I'm already raising alarm bells.
Yeah, none of it. I didn't really know anything that's going in. I just downloaded it because it was on Game Pass's beta. So, okay, that's the hot new thing, is it? Go on then. I'll check it out. I'll give it a fair shot. And it's not for me. Like, immediately, as soon as I booted it up and started playing, it's not for me. Definitely not. If you can find enjoyment with it, fine. I'm not going to poo-poo you. But I can't see this lasting long. I think it really is going to be a flash in the pan thing. It's the kind of game where they've already made like allegations about AI. I think it's going to be one controversy after another with this one, and then it'll just get buried. That's how I feel it's going to be.
Well, if we've got no more games, I did watch, in the space of a fucking day, Echo, the new Marvel series.
And how is Echo? I haven't seen it.
My nutshell answer is probably what I've said about other Marvel series. So, great first episode, and then it eventually fizzles out with a rushed finale, which is near enough Marvel TV shows in a nutshell. But I guess, you know, it's better than a few recent ones. I like that it's street level, and Echo is a fun anti-hero as it goes on. But a lot of like her powers stuff just seems very strange when you have no idea what the fuck is going on. But no, the first episode was incredible for a few reasons, and some of those reasons I will not be mentioning because of spoilers. But there was one moment I literally got up out of my seat and was like, no fucking way. But now that I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So, no, it was fun. I literally watched it in the space of a day. I watched like 3 episodes, took the dog, watched the next episode, went work, came home, watched the final one, went bed. There you go. No, it is worth a watch compared to, if you're disappointed with like Secret Invasion, Miss Marvel, like this is better than them. But it's still the same Marvel TV show formula, so...
Oh, fair enough.
It is. I've got 2 shows I've been watching. I've been doing quite a lot this week. It's nice to have a weekend where I've like not got anyone over. Not that I don't like having people over. It's just I've actually got a bit of time. It's nice, lovely. Which one do I start with? Tell you what, I will very quickly talk about Ted. You remember Ted, the Seth MacFarlane film with the talking teddy bear? Well, they did a series of that. Still starring Seth MacFarlane, and other people are in it. Yeah, I don't know any actors' names, if you can tell. I'll say this: there's 7 episodes of it streaming on Peacock, or you can find it doing naughty measures. But I will say this: it's quite funny. It's pretty good. I quite like it.
It's quite surprising because usually series tend to shine.
I've heard it's got quite a lot of heart in it.
It has, surprisingly.
I think that's what people were quite surprised by. Like, I think some people found it was the heart of the show that they liked more than the comedy.
Tell you what it does. Like, it does, like, a little bit of shock humour, but not to, like, a crazy extent. It's fairly restrained. Like, it brings up issues, racism, that kind of thing. But they actually take, like, an intelligent stance on pretty much all of it. Like, one of the characters introduced to him is actually a bit of context. Ted takes place during Mark Wahlberg's character John's childhood, so it's like during the 90s. So this is sort of a prequel. So it's showing you like issues that were relevant around that time. But for everything they like highlight, like be it a bit of racism and that, they always have a sort of counterpoint to it. Like somebody's arguing it, and there's always like a sort of intelligent first show about a talking swearing bear. It has a lot of counterpoints, like this intelligent conversation, which I was not expecting. I mean, oh yeah, there's still like knob and fart jokes in it, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot better than I was expecting. I wasn't expecting much, to be honest, but I did see one or two people on YouTube saying it's surprisingly good, and I joined that ranks. It is surprisingly good. Like I've pretty much watched all 7 episodes back to back, and the episodes are like 50 minutes each, so they're not like too short or anything. But yeah, I just quite enjoyed it. I think it's the best thing Seth MacFarlane's done for a very, very long time. And I do recommend it. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's Ted. The other thing I've been watching, which again has only been out a couple of days, so fresh off the press. Have you guys heard of a series called Hazbin, a Hotel?
Yes.
Yes.
Heard it. Don't really know anything about it.
Yes, it's currently trending like crazy at the minute.
Yeah, because it's the creators did oh shit, what's it called?
Hell of a Boss.
Hell of a Boss, and then it was like, what was that, Clown? Or was that the same thing?
Oh, the Amazing Digital Circus.
Yeah, is that the same thing?
I think so, or there's at least some shared DNA. I'm not entirely sure because I don't really know the creators all that well. I do know Has Been a Hotel had a pilot that sort of came out years ago.
That might be the one I'm thinking of, actually, the pilot.
Yeah, maybe. A couple of people are like upset because they've changed some of the voice actors, but I can't say anything about that because I haven't seen the pilot. But again, it just came out on Amazon Prime, and there's still some episodes to come out. Currently, there's 4 episodes available, and I watched a lot in one go because they're only like 20-minute long episodes. And I didn't realise it's sort of like a musical as well. It's like every episode's got like 2 songs in it, which I was not expecting. So if you'd have asked me last week if I would be watching a show where Keith David, the actor from The Thing and John Carpenter's They Live, would be singing a song about being a loser, I'd have looked at you in a bit funny. Like, but that's the thing that happens. And I tell you what, I genuinely don't like musicals. Like, they're not my cup of tea at all. Quite like this though. The animation is really fucking good, and the songs in it, everyone's they're really catchy. Like, they don't last like really long because they're only like 20-minute episodes. Each song's only like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, like max. But they're all pretty good.
The thing with musicals is you never like them until you find the right one, and then you're like, okay, the odd musical actually goes hard, but you have to find. It's like I mentioned the other year, One Piece film Red. Half of that film is a fucking musical. It's just like, oh, I went to go see a One Piece film, and it was a musical. What the fuck? I didn't expect this. I just wanted to see my Straw Hat Pirates kick some ass, and then it's just a musical. It's like, what?
Technically, my favourite film is as well the South Park film. So
yeah,
that's a musical as well.
There you go.
That goes on. Yeah. See, with musicals, like sometimes they can like grind a show to a halt while I like take a few minutes to like have a song, and then by the end of it, like nothing is progressed. But these do, like what they're singing, what they're communicating does actually move the plot along. There's a reason for them being there. It's like a sort of kind of way of like doing an exposition dump, like telling you what's going on in a nutshell. Like you can get with the animation and the tones of voice and everything, you get across exactly how everyone's feeling and what their point of view is, as well as, you know, moving the plot along. So every time there's a song, it's got a purpose. As I say, they're really catchy. But to bring you like to the actual plot of the series, if you're unaware, so Has Been a Hotel it's set in hell, where the owner of said hotel is Charlie, who's the son of Satan and Lilith. Daughter of Satan and Lilith. And the whole gimmick of her hotel is she's trying to rehabilitate demons to become good, to send them to heaven. Because essentially what heaven's doing is like every year they come down and do like a massive sort of extermination, like cool, to like keep the hell's numbers low so they can like never like rise up and take over heaven. Essentially the plot of it. And obviously she's trying to rehabilitate them so that will no longer be an issue. Problems arise though when one of the original angels, Adam, who is meant to be like the first man, which they have a bit of fun with by making him very misogynistic because he's the first man. So there's no one to counterpoint him. And he's a bit of a dick. So yeah, the problems arise where they say, yeah, I'm not going to wait like another year to have a call. We're going to do it in 6 months. months, like every 6 months now. So there's a bit of a time pressure on. And as you like get to know the people who run the hotel, each one's like a main character. You got the barkeep who's played by Keith David, who has a banging song number. She's stupidly catchy, and I'll be probably hearing that for weeks. Got another character called Angel, who's kind of like a personification of lust, a bit of a porno star, but the kind of don't want to be. Yeah, I don't want to say too much about characters because there's a fair few of them and I could be here all day prattling on, and I don't want to be doing that. I do, though, want you to go watch this for yourself. I was not sure about it at first because I thought, what kind of fan base is this going to have? It seems like the kind of one where it's going to have a sort of interesting fan base. I guess it seems like with like animated stuff that becomes really popular, you'll get like stuff like Rick and Morty fans and like furry fans, because a lot of the characters in this are sort of like, they're not human. They're all sorts. So I do wonder where I can already see like the Rule 34 without looking. I just know that it exists.
Yep, I literally saw a post like talking about it and going Rule 34 artist be like. I was like, yep.
Yeah, the gates are open. Yeah. You go. But no. If I don't tip my toes into that and just watch it for what it is, I think I'm going to quite enjoy this. I'm kind of looking forward to like the next episode. Yeah, I'm just taken by surprise so I'm surprised with both Ted for being good, and I'm surprised by this by like liking it. I just think it's stunningly well animated. The writing's good. The songs are catchy. So yeah, bring on more.
Well, I think we've got one last thing, isn't it, Brandon?
Yes, I've also been watching something, and it's something which is very long overdue on my behalf. I do apologise for taking so long to watch this.
To be honest, I think there's many things that you're long overdue.
But this is one in particular that, based on my culture, I'm guilty. I'm talking about the anime masterclass that is Code Geass. So last year I watched season 1 of Code Geass, and I remember enjoying it a lot. Like, I had a real good time watching it, and the ending of Code Geass season 1 itself was brilliant. Like when Suzaku and Lelouch are like literally about to shoot each other, but you don't know they've shot each other. Well, you hear the bang, but then that's just literally the end of season 1. I was like, that's fucking brilliant. Like, that is an absolute genius end to a season 1. And then we get introduced to season 2, and you're just like, hang on a minute. How is this following on from the subsequent series of events from season 1? And then as you get through season 2, and again, you're greeted by an absolute masterclass of an ending. Like, I could sort of predict the ending was coming as like for the last episode. Like maybe the last few episodes, I could see it coming. Like, I don't know what it was, but I could just predict it. But either way, it's just still like the nice cinematography, the music, the emotions that you see within everyone. Is it hard for me to say? It's not really a spoiler because it's been out for nearly 18 years.
Well, if people don't know what Code Geass, tell them, please.
Okay, so Code Geass is a mecha. It's a mecha anime, but it's more politically orientated. And so when I say politically orientated, so you've got the main character called Lelouch v Britannia, he's basically like one of the lions in the thrones, but he was eventually cast aside because his mother was taken out by his father, Charles v Britannia. And he was basically like lost all sorts of, I wouldn't say lost, but he was basically like shunned aside from the throne. And he is just out and about, and he meets a character called C2 or C.C. But everyone just calls him C2. And he gains a power called Geass, which gives him the power. Every Geass user has their own distinct power. So Lelouch's Geass power is that he can basically bend the will of whoever it is he will look at. So if he basically stared at someone and say, I command you to kill yourself, you kill yourself. Or if I command you to basically spin around and act like a dog, you will act like a dog. The main caveat of this Geass power is that once he's used it, he cannot use it again on the same person. So once he's done that command with the Geass, that's it. Likewise with a lot of other sort of power struggles that you get within anime, certain times when characters get very strong, they can no longer control their powers, and that happened to Lelouch towards the end of season 1 when he was just making like a joke. And it's like, oh yeah, I would never command you to kill this whole population. It's like, kill the population? Okay, so they went off and killed the population, and then so that's basically the subsequent events of season 1. So it's Lelouch rebelling against his father, setting up an organization called the Black Knights and wanting to overthrow his father and find out why his mother was killed. And he's all doing this with the purpose to make his blind, crippled sister, Nunnally, happy. As we then go into season 2, we find out that the reason why Nunnally was blind and crippled was because his father is also a Geass user, and he has the ability to overwrite memories, and basically made Nunnally sort of believe that she was blind and crippled. So for the whole of her life, she acted that way. And you later find out that Lelouch's mother, yes, they were dead, but they weren't killed by Charles. They were killed by the equivalent of C2 called V2, who basically was coercing Charles to use his Geass powers, and he was the one that took out Marianne, Lelouch's mother. And once all this sort of nuances are certain small stories just build up, and you start to see just everything which is going on in the world building, like Lelouch's reasoning for trying to take over his father, finding out why his mother actually died, finding out that his father and the mother were actually trying to care for Lelouch, because the reason why they cast him aside was to protect them from V2, which again was just really a nice take on what's happening. And then likewise with Death Note, because they both came out at the same time, that 2006 era, you have the person who's all powerful, start thinking they're doing good, but trying to portray, and then later themselves becoming the villain. So Lelouch is now basically wanting to dominate the world, and he's basically taken on all of this evil himself. And the complete climactic ending, I mean, I've skipped over a lot of stuff because I don't want to rant about it too much, but the climactic ending of Code Geass is Lelouch basically wants the world to come to peace, and the only way that he can make the world to come to peace is for the world to focus all the hatred onto him, and he himself die. So he takes over the world and does a parade, an executioner's parade, to try and execute all the people who stood against him, and then got his best friend to kill him on front of stage to basically get everyone to hate him, and then relieve that he's gone. It's such a beautiful ending, and it feels like a nice sort of closing to the chapter, and just how clever Lelouch was as a character as well, because likewise with Light from Death Note, insanely good, smart people. And the other surprising thing is that Code Geass is an original story. It hasn't got no source material. It's literally just these creators just got together and just basically yeah, let's do it. Also, originally, Dan, it was meant to be 100 episodes. Did you know that?
No.
So originally, season 1 was going to be 50 episodes, and season 2 was going to be 50 episodes. But then once they went through the editing period, they were told to half it. So when you got those periods in Code Geass where there seemed like a bit of a jump, the creators wanted to flesh it out more, but they were told, no, do it in half the time. So there has been a lot of time skips in Code Geass, but that explains it.
Been a long time since I've watched it, so I don't know. I think I need to give it a rewatch at some point. I remember it being good. Obviously the ending's fantastic. I remember it being good. A friend that I met while I was at college, it was his favourite anime, and that's why I watched it. I can see why he loved it. Personally, I think it's good. If you're into anime, it is a bit of a must-watch, but I don't know, for me, it's not higher for me. But then, same with everything. For every person, it's different, But it is good. It's basically Mecha Death Note, really. That's essentially what it is.
I think a lot of people, especially the Western audience, the reason why Death Note is so much better than Code Geass is because the Western audiences, we don't really give two shits about mecha, whereas in Japan, they love mecha. Gundam was huge in Japan, but it didn't really take over here, So obviously, they've all got the same premise of these two insanely clever characters trying to outcheck their opponents per se. But I feel it's just the styles of Death Note and how it more appealed to Western is probably why Death Note did so much better than Code Geass did. But in the long runs, I feel I don't know, after watching it and comparing it to Death Note, I feel if I watched both of them at the same time when I grew up, at the time, I probably would have preferred Death Note because it's more Western appealing. But as I sort of gained my flavour with anime, I sort of feel Code Geass is just great. I love the themes in it and all the subtleties in it. I do like it.
The thing is, same with many things, certain people just gravitate to certain shows, certain games, and sometimes we're oh, I understand why, and then sometimes we're I have no idea why people like this, but people do, and that's just life.
Yeah. I'm so glad I watched Code Geass. And if sometimes when you watch a show, you feel a bit empty. You're just I don't know what to do. So when I entered my rating on it on Mal, I gave it a 10 just because it might be recency bias. It's not a 10 overall, but I'm just gonna give myself a moment to just mull it down. But I didn't realize there's four or five different fucking Code Geass films, with the most recent being 2013. I'm just why is it continuing? Can't they just leave it?
I don't know, there was a rumour they were going to do a season 3, and I'm why?
Why? Leave it.
Because people don't want to leave things. That's
it's
the problem now. It doesn't matter what it is.
Bloodborne, yeah.
They can't just let things. They can't just leave things to die. They have to bring their dead corpses. Just,
Again, like we said this before, like a lot of the time, sequels, if you leave something and try to bring it back to life, it never comes back how you remember it.
It's like
what made it good.
It's like take even The Last of Us. Why have they done a remaster of Last of Us Part 2? Why is that a thing?
I've seen they've issued refunds for that for one reason or another. Yeah, I've just seen like a couple of headlines saying they've issued refunds. I don't know why. I'm assuming because no real reason to have to fucking.
No. The reason why they're getting refunds, if I remember correctly, is if let's say you've got it on PS4 and then you bought it on PS5, they're refunding it because you already have it. So it's a good refund. It's not like people are asking for refunds. No, it's Naughty Dog are doing refunds. So you're not buying the same thing.
Okay, got you.
I think so. It's because unlike most games, if you've got it on PS4 and you get a PS5 version, the trophies carry over. So it's not like you get a new trophy list to start from scratch.
Got you. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
That's what's going on. But it's one of those. It's another one of those things. I'm like, why is that being remastered? It doesn't need a remaster. It was only on PS4.
Well, you just said it yourself. If it's got like the same trophy list, it's the same game. Then what's the fucking point?
I think they've added a few new things, but whatever. Oh well. And if
you're going to remake anything, I say remake it in a way just to make it more playable. So, like, something I've been playing at the moment is Bloodborne, because I've noticed I'm missing 2 trophies on Bloodborne. But because Bloodborne was like literally the cusp of like when the PS4 launched, obviously you can start to feel its age in terms of like 30 FPS, rather than like when we moved to games like Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, Sekiro, and everything, where everything's like 60, like much better frame rate and just feels a lot smoother. You know, like how they did like the Dark Souls remake just to up the FPS. I feel like if there's anything, I would like to see Bloodborne just have that sort of an update or remake just to bring it back to life. But obviously because it's on PS Plus, part of me is just like remake it, but make it free.
Like,
basically,
a true remake should make the original game obsolete. So it's to the point where it's like
the new one,
there is no reason to go back. Like if you are, there is one reason: nostalgia.
Yeah.
And that only goes so far. If you want a decent, a good remake, should make it like this is the best experience to have fun. This game, but then saying that, you've got remakes like the Resident Evil ones that are kind of counter that, but that's I guess a different kettle of fish entirely. Don't know where we're going now, but
but that's a split between remakes and remasters, isn't it? And like, if you're going to do like a remaster, you don't need to necessarily make the original like defunct. You just need to make something that was probably less accessible or on a console that no one plays, and just bring it to the masses. That's what you really need to do.
Well, there's nothing else.
I think
I feel like we've covered everything. Yeah,
we've quite a few new things on this one. Up to date.
Just looked out the window. That storm looks a bit nasty in my garden.
Well, as if you've been listening to us for fucking 70 episodes, we have our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter. We're on many places that you hear our podcast: Spotify, Apple, Audible, Anchor, whatever it's called.
Spanky's YouTube channel.
Yeah, we're everywhere. Everywhere you get your podcasts. These two will be streaming on Twitch. Seabacker and Spanky Rambles. Listen to Retro Smash because they're great. Am I missing anything?
No, I think we're good.
You'll hear us again in 2 weeks.
Yep, see y'all in 2 weeks' time.
Tatty buys.
Bye-bye.
Have a fun 2 weeks.